Ready for coffee, baby. Pretty cool.
He was in the 19th group. That's why we were in Salt Lake.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the white one's my jam.
What's the 19th group?
It's the National Guard, Special Forces.
Oh, okay.
And
they're stationed out here?
Yep. They're at Camp Williams, and that's not too far. So Evan was here just to be close to that, and then started a couple other businesses and started this one. Did an initial coffee launch through Article 15 Clothing, and then just decided to do BRCC full time.
This is nice. I've been in a lot of podcast studios. This has to be my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. Because so many times it's nothing, and then it's just wherever you're at is the podcast. You know, it's maybe like one wall and that's it. But this whole building just echoes the whole way through.
Yeah.
It shows the level of a professional high-end company. It's a huge difference.
I'm glad you say that, because it's like that's all the mindset of so much of being successful in business is attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything. You're the same way with your shit. Like every little detail's got to be just right. The design, the side of the bag,
it's tough because that's exactly how
the flavor, the bean.
That's exactly how I feel. But because it's just me doing everything except some of the manufacturing, we have a team. But I was like, all right, I got to get all this perfect. Then I'm going to switch to this. Then it's going to be like, all right, get the website colors perfect. Then it's going to be like, let's get the pictures perfect. Then we're going to move over here and do the retargeting perfect. Then we're going to move back over here and we're going to change the product line, or we're going to redesign the product. And it's like I just move from section to section, making things perfect and then circling back. So when there's something that's not right, I'm like, I got to hurry up and get back to that to fix it, to make it better. And most people look at it and they're like, it's perfect, but I'm like, I hate it. Even our straps, like we changed the curvature on the tip of the straps ever so slightly. Mm-hmm. What that's going to do is change long-term wear, where like sometimes through this bottom seam right here, you can get like a little bit of a tearing. If your flip-flops are in the sun for a long time, you get a little split right there.
Yeah.
That'll cause a tear. So we're extending this curve down a little bit and making this more of changing the radius and moving this hole back. And that's going to increase the strength a lot. Because now we're starting to get flip-flops that are coming back to us that are 8 years old. Next month will be our 8-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
So now that they're 8 years old, I can see like, all right, well, here's the weak spots. But we're moving into our generation 27th generation. So those early ones, to me, like when I see an early pair, I'm embarrassed by them. I see them, I was like, oh, these are embarrassing. But people are like, dude, I love these things. I've had these things for 8 years.
Yeah.
But personally, I was like, it's almost like if you see your art, or if you see something you wrote as a kindergartner, like I'm embarrassed by like, I was so dumb as a kindergartner, Yeah. That's how I look with our products.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have that mindset, right? Like if you're not getting better, then you're just dying slowly inside.
You have to. To me, you got to be psychotically obsessed with it. It's all I want to do. Like I was telling the guys downstairs, I don't want to leave my house. Like chicks will come over to my house and, my friends will come over. But when I leave the house, the only thing I leave for is to go do podcasts.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I really like that. Psychotically obsessed.
It's,
I would say that
I go to sleep thinking about it. I dream about it and I wake up.
Yeah.
There's no like, I need a break from work.
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
I just had my first one.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I don't have any kids, but I know my friends who have kids, how much they love them. And they're like, bro, it's all I think about. I think about flip-flops more than you think about your kids.
Yeah.
Like psychotically obsessed, psychotically.
Do you think you've been that way with whatever you've been interested in?
I've always tried to be good at what I did. I've never been a huge achiever. You know what I mean? Like I don't even have a GED. I don't have a high school diploma. I didn't even go to high school, but like.
You didn't go to high school?
I didn't go to high school.
How do you not go to high school? You
just don't.
Just run away?
Yeah, we grew up in San Diego, pretty poor. You know what I mean? Pretty poor.
Yeah.
Dad was a truck driver. my brother, my sister, and then a bunch of cousins. And my grandparents really raised us in this tiny, tiny farmhouse in like just a few miles inland from the coast. And San Diego back in those days, I was born in 78. So think early 80s. You kind of have your first memories being maybe 4, 5, 6 years old. So early 80s, it was all farm, all agriculture. We had cows across the street. We had corn growing next door. We had like no really hot water, you know what I mean? Like light bulbs were like 25 watt, nothing, you know, like everything, radio antenna or rabbit ears on our TV. Like we didn't have anything growing up. We grew up super, super poor. And as time went on, it became like beautiful houses. You're like, oh wow, look at that giant. I remember seeing the first like mansion on the beach growing up. But we used to be able to, if people like from Florida, you could drive on the beach there and you could have bonfires, you could fish from the back of your truck. We used to be able to do that in California. And then it just slowly got taken away.
Yeah.
So like what we picture nowadays as Texas and Florida, California was way beyond that. It was way better.
So where you grew up now?
We'll say it again.
Like what is in that area?
Oh,
dude,
fully gigantic houses, condos, like high-rise luxury condos. You'll still see a small farmhouse, but growing up there, so my grandfather and my great-grandfather were founding members of like Vista and Oceanside. They have a plaque at City Hall for no other reason than there was only maybe 7 or 8 like Russian and like Dutch families that settled that area. So like the first time like those towns were incorporated, if you will, like in the mid 1800s, late 1800s was like our family. So we had huge amounts of land that slowly got sold out over time. And I remember my great grandma, who I spent a lot of time at her house growing up. So maybe I'm ballparking. So maybe I was 12 years old, right? She was born in the late 1800s and she was 100 and something years old at that time. So think, I suck at math, sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, something like that, right? And so I grew up at her house a lot, and she had a huge property. And I remember, and it was surrounded by giant condos even back then. And then the moment she died, my grandma's sister, brother, they sold the property off to these big developers, and they built just gigantic, like grocery stores and stuff like that. Like that's how big it is, you know? And they slowly sold off these huge chunks of land. But if they would have kept that land, it legitimately would have been worth billions of dollars. Yeah. But rich people keep their assets and poor people sell them. You know what I mean? And that poor people mentality is like why no generational wealth was ever passed along, with our family. They sold that land for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Nowadays it's worth hundreds of millions. Yeah. And we're talking about thousands of acres. Yeah. In Oceanside, the edge of Carlsbad. I had uncles that had giant land out in San Marcos inland. I mean, you drive on the freeway and I'd be like, so my great uncle used to own from right here, and you drive for 8 minutes, and they're like, it used to end right there. Yeah. Like the whole hillside was theirs.
Yeah. There's a couple of unique films that kind of showcase the growth of Southern California in different ways. What's that movie with Jack Nicholson where he's the PI and he's investigating the water situation?
I don't think I've seen it.
Really? It's
I'll chat GPT it though.
Oh, I'm blanking on names right now, but super famous director. What was the director that his wife was killed in the Manson murders? Why am I blanking on this?
Oh, I suck at people listening to this are gonna be like, it was in that goddamn movie. I'll remember it in a minute. I know who you're talking about though.
It'll come to me. But anyway, so he directed it with Jack Nicholson, and it's about the scoop of land not too far from like kind of Temecula area, and how water rights played a huge part in that, and how private entities were scooping up different plots of land and like covering up so they could shut the water off, drive the value of the land way down, dry it out, buy it for less, and then develop it after they turn the water back on. And you watch it, you're like, oh, that for sure happened in the early 40s or 50s, kind of when it was booming really big, and like a lot, like you're saying, some of the poor, they just didn't understand the swell that SoCal was going to become, to where if you're like, oh, if you could have fast forward 10, 20 years to see what you were like, oh, it's like no time at all.
Yeah. The weather there's perfect. I think Vista is rated as some of the best weather on the planet. It's like an average of 75 degrees year round. It's perfect. And because before I moved to Vegas, I lived right on the water in Oceanside, like right on the water. That's just when I was working for Apple, and it would be overcast all the time, all the time. But when it's sunny, it's beautiful. But that marine layer moves in around 3 miles. So once you get to the edge of Oceanside, you move into Vista, which is just the inland version of it. It's always sunny. Like it's sunny some impossible 300 days out of the year, something like that.
So, I mean, Vista outside of Oceans, I mean, that's like,
it's just inland of it. Yeah.
that's exactly where Pendleton is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
up next to Pendleton?
Yeah. So you got Camp Pendleton, then right below that, you got Oceanside, and then Vista kind of cradles sort of like the more inland edge. And then you got Bonsall cradling, and then Fallbrook comes in on the backside. Then you got the Marines that come in from the back gate at Camp Pendleton, or the Fallbrook gate, I think they call it.
Yeah.
And then you got Orange County, San Clemente borders Pendleton on the top.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Camp Pendleton's huge.
San Clemente is such an awesome little beach town.
Yeah.
I love being
Yeah.
stationed on the north side of Pendleton, because where 5th Marines is, there's no personnel outside of infantry. So it's 4 battalions of infantry Marines right next to that northern gate. And so, like,
Are you guys up by Christianitos? Is that what that's called? The very northern gate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, you just spit. There's a separate road. Doesn't make sense for anybody else to go to unless you're in that little area of 5th Marines. And it's just a direct shot.
There's
right
nothing up there. There's nothing up there.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I cut my teeth on everything, was in the hills of that area.
Even going like from Marine, I feel like Marines usually go to Oceanside. I know some go to San Clemente.
Yeah,
but
well,
it's
that
really
was the
Oceanside.
process. Like when you were as you're learning Camp Pendleton and you're like figuring stuff out and you're not a boot anymore, all the young people, like when you're in SOI and you're getting your infantry training, you go to Oceanside when you're doing that. And then you realize like, oh, this is where all the fucking boots go. So I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
here
The classier
anymore.
chicks are up in San Clemente.
Yeah. So you go up to you. But also it's so much of it is depending on like where you are within Pendleton, because it's huge. But being on the north side right there, like San Clemente, like the bars in San Clemente are so fun.
Yeah.
It was a great place to be stationed.
Out of all the Southern California towns, Encinitas and San Clemente are probably the two best. They're beautiful. The weather's perfect. The town's nice, quaint, cool, like not too many people. Those are the two, to me, in my opinion, the two best towns.
Yeah.
Carlsbad's right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening or watching the Black Rifle Coffee Podcast. Please allow me to take a second to pay the bills and let you know what we've got going on here at Black Rifle, or I could say the best way that you can support us. I hope that you are in the coffee club currently. If you're not, you should be. Every month, we ship fresh roasted coffee directly to you, free of shipping, and you can get in the club, get in a 1-bagger or 1-boxer for as little as $15.99 a month. Also included in that subscription is a whole section of the website for partner discounts with over 100 brands within that. Discounts on everything from firearms to protein to outdoors products, you name it. We have partnered with some of the best in the outdoor firearms industries. And if you want something a little bit more, there's always a little bit more layered within the coffee club subscription. And I'm talking about the exclusive coffee subscription, otherwise known as the Evan coffee subscription, because it was something he specifically tailored towards himself, because he wanted to drink different coffees from different countries every single month. And then it gives us an excuse to come up with a whole bunch of different branding ideas and concepts. Last month we did the Army 250th coffee. This month is not tea. And then the next month is just this wild design for the Secret Water Society. So go ahead, get in the club. It's the best way to support the brand. We appreciate everything that you do for us here at Black Rifle Coffee. Now back to the show. Have you ever been to Big Helen's?
Never.
Bar?
Never.
Oh, that was our hangout.
I used to go to some bars, but I was never really a bar person.
Yeah.
I'd get in a lot of fights.
Yeah.
I started doing jiu-jitsu when I was 13 years old. So in those days, you're the only people doing jiu-jitsu.
How did you get that exposure?
My brother was a professional skateboarder, and he hung out with this older dude named Jerry. So I was 13. Jerry was like 20, 21, right? Jerry met this dude named Nelson Montero. He's now a Coral Belt. he was surfing or skating down at the beach. They linked up, they started talking, and then he was like, yeah, I'm just moved from Brazil. I teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out of my garage. This is 3 years before the first UFC. So at the first UFC, nobody even knew what the UFC was. But before that, it was, people were still doing Kung Fu and shit.
Yeah.
So Jerry started going and doing like lessons in his garage, but like it was a private, there's no organized school then, not yet. And you'd pay him $5, $10, maybe $20, and he would show you a couple moves, and Jerry would come back and teach it to us, and he was showing us like a triangle and an arm bar, and then we'd use it on other kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then because we grew up kind of poor, the older kids would like, you and my brother would make me fight your little brother. He would make me fight your little brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that type of dumb shit.
Yeah.
And it was stupid, bro. Like we'd be playing like trucks in the backyard, and like they'd be like, get over here, and like you have to fight some kid, and like maybe he's way older than you, way younger than you. So we always grew up fighting. I never liked it, you know, because it was always something I had to be forced to do. But growing up in like a poor Mexican, like they call them barrios, like Mexican neighborhoods, there was always violence. Like we watched people getting killed. We had people die on our porch. We had people die in town. You'd go to the liquor store and you have to like wait for the cops to like, you know, take a body away. Like this is.
Someone got killed on your porch?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He got stabbed to death. Like they call him a paisas, like a Mexican national,
Yeah.
like a border brother. Because since it was all agriculture, it was all illegal migrants that moved up from Mexico to work the fields, work the avocados and the tomatoes and all that type of stuff. So they would have little encampments all over the place, and they would just live in the field, live in the woods, live in the little in the bushes, and they'd have conflicts and stuff. And you know, one guy got stabbed, and he came to our porch because we lived in a rural area, and there was one tiny little like light bulb on our porch at night. And I remember watching a TV show like Rabbit Ears, you know what I mean? Like some scratchy show, and hearing something on the porch, and my dad opens the door at night and kind of peeks out there, and I peek around his legs, and this Mexican dude stabbed dozens and dozens of times. And he's sitting on my grandpa's wooden chair, like it's kind of his wooden rocking chair where he would sit there and drink on the porch, and just died right there. And to us, it wasn't that big a deal. And I remember walking to school as a first grader, and we had this giant field with like what looked like ruins, you know, like an old busted up building from maybe the 1800s or early 1900s.
Yeah.
And our buddy was like, oh, there's a dead guy in there. So we'd go by, we'd plug our nose, and we'd like peek through like the rubble window. The glass was gone, but just rubble. And we'd peek in and like see him all bloated and like stuff. And maybe 2 or 3 days he was there. We'd go by and look at him every day on the way to school. And that was like, to us, that wasn't abnormal. That's just what we did. And then there was another field where a guy died in the drain. You don't know how he died, but just a dead body was there. Could be a drug overdose, could be a killing, whatever.
So it wasn't so much gang or
a lot of gangs. A lot of gangs.
Oh yeah, just within those different encampments.
Yeah, Well, the encampments were out in the agricultural area, but in the town portion, it was like small shanty houses with Mexican gangs. You know what I mean? Those Mexican gangs have been established there since like the 30s. If you guys, like anyone who's like grew up in Southern California, it was like I think the Pachucos or something. It was like an old school Zoot Suiter type of like the guys had their pants pulled up real tight, would wear suits and wear those like drive those 1930 like lowrider cars, you know, the Mercuries and stuff like that. Those guys were like either the second gen or first gen. And then it kind of evolved all the way into the guys there nowadays are like 6th, 7th generation. You know, those neighborhoods have been there forever.
Yeah.
And then all the gang junctures, you know, like everyone knows California with the 3 strikes laws and stuff like that. And the documented gang members and you do a crime and that crime is enhanced because you're a gang member. All that stuff started in Southern California, like all those gang junctions. They eventually trickled up to LA and then throughout the whole rest of the country. But then during that same time, because we had such rural areas, we had bikers and stuff making a lot of methamphetamine, and the Mexican gangs were making methamphetamine. And it was a huge hub because it was the first place when you cross the border was San Diego. So Baja made all the drugs came up through Baja into Southern California. It would come up into Texas also. But LA and San Diego were more advanced and modernized. And like, let's say Dallas was very conservative in that time. San Diego, California, we know the hippies and like all those like new movements were happening during that time, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s.
Yeah.
Like the Hells Angels, all those bike gangs, like they ran that whole thing. So we grew up just around tons of drugs. And then my uncle, being a guy from the 70s, he's like, I don't know how old he is, but he's like, he was high school like in the 60s, 70s. So he grew up, doing acid, smoking weed, doing a little bit of blow. He kind of grew up at the same time Steve Jobs and all those like great minds, grew up. And he was an electromechanical engineer, and his dad was really, he was smart, but his dad is my uncle through marriage, was really, really smart. And I know that they had something to do with the guidance system for the original stealth bomber. Like back in the 70s, they were developing it. Then when it came out through testing in the 80s, I was a kid, so I don't know the dates on this stuff, but I remember they had this tiny little shop in the hills. I remember these government guys would come by and they'd be like, hey, when that car pulls up, you guys get the fuck out of here. Go play in the orchards. And they would come by, they would have their meetings and they would leave. But years later, he told me that it was a guidance system for the stealth bomber is what they were working on. Not the whole guidance system, but components within that guidance system.
So what I'm hearing you tell me is that LSD had a huge portion to do with the development of
all those stuff, even the music back then, all that stuff. Now, I was just a kid. I was a kid-ish, early teenager. So I just remember seeing this stuff peripherally. Like I wasn't paying too much attention to it. Going back and thinking back on it is much different, right? So he always did a little bit of drugs, and then he had this huge property. And then one day the property got raided by the cops. I was there, and it's like 15 people were there. A huge property, avocado groves, multiple houses. It was gigantic. And what happened was the cops at that time were doing these things called asset forfeitures, where they would go to your house, they would find drugs, they would seize your property, seize all your belongings, your cash, everything. And then they'd be like, who do you know? Let's piggyback this onto somebody else. The same thing they do nowadays, but these were the first like times they were doing it back then. And
so you're how old
at the time the place got raided, I was 18, just turned 18. Okay. So they took all the adults to jail. And what had turned out happened, if I go into the future and speak backwards, they had a confidential informant come by and plant some stuff. It was like the most basic elements to constitute manufacturing methamphetamine. Like they had like a vial of something and some like Sudafed. So my uncle was more of a weed guy, more of an LSD guy, but once in a while, if he had some drinks, like he would do some coke or some meth. Never like the people I grew up with, like we smoked cigarettes and drank beer. Like that was our thing. You know what I mean? So like that was more of the hippie generation thing. And that's something he would do a little bit. So what they did is they seized the whole property, took everybody to jail. Everybody bailed out, went back to the house because that's where we were kind of just hanging out. And they raided it the following day and took everybody back to jail because they left stuff there. Super shady, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Anyways, they raid this huge house. They take everybody to jail. They find these things. Now you're out on bail. When they come back and raid it a second time, you're now a habitual offender because you're out on bail. And when you're out on bail, you can't have guns. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. So now when you fuck up, you have no bail. You automatically get a 2-year sentence. What they're trying to do is they're trying to capture your assets. And what they're trying to do is get you to turn on somebody else because they want to keep going up the ladder to bigger fish. My uncle was just a recreational user though. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't manufacture anything. He did have a couple weed plants on his property, which back then was a huge deal. Huge deal. I remember weed back in the day. It was gigantic.
Yeah. You mean like, couple individual plants, not like
like 6 plants
manufacturing.
Yeah, like 6 plants, you know. But back then that was the same thing.
But so you didn't go to high school.
Nope.
And you're at your uncle's place at 18.
Yeah.
So like what were you doing? Normal quote unquote people are going to high school. Like what were you doing?
Selling guns and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would dress
Super
up.
normal stuff.
This is perfect place. This is the perfect town to bring this up. So because we grew up in like a gang neighborhood, if you rode around like on a bike, the cops are going to jam you up, right? And I had tattoos. These tattoos, most of them I had when I was already like 16. I got started getting tattooed when I was young. So if you're riding down the street, the cops are just going to jam you up. You have guns with you. They're going to smash you. We grew up. So my dad was a Jehovah's Witness growing up. So I dressed up kind of like a Mormon guy. Like how you picture a Mormon guy, like a white shirt, long sleeve, tie, and I had a book bag, and I would ride up and down these gang neighborhoods selling guns dressed up like a Mormon. The cops wouldn't mess with us. And I knew that from the Jehovah's Witnesses that I was around growing up, that like, that's what they would do. They go knocking on door to door.
I mean, it's a great idea.
And the cops wouldn't mess with them. You know, I'd go to my uncle's house. I'd sell some guns to some bikers. I would go to this other guy's house. I'd sell some guns there. And like, that's just what we wound up doing.
Where are you getting these guns?
From gang members.
Yeah.
Just they're guys from the neighborhood. When you grew up around those guys, that's just what they do. Like, you're always a member of your environment. You know, if you grew up on a farm, well, where'd you get those seeds? From like a farmer down the road. Yeah. Where'd you get that baby calf? From the guy down the road. Where'd you get that gun? From the dude down the road.
So everything around you as you're growing up is just embedded in gang culture.
And we grew up with a good family. Like, my dad was a good guy. My grandparents were good people, but we were just surrounded by violence all the time.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of violence.
So did your dad grow up in the same area?
They grew up in LA.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, he went to high school in that area, but as kids, they grew up in LA.
Yeah. So it's really just like, as you're going back in your family, they just watch this swell up.
Yeah. Well,
that area.
So my grandpa was from there, but he moved to LA when he met my grandma, and they lived in LA for a little while. And then he moved her back to where he was from. So my uncles and my dad and my aunt were all born up in LA, lived there as children, but were kind of raised down in Southern California. So my grandpa had left for a short period of time, maybe 5-6 years, to go to LA. And, but they didn't like, there was too many gangs in LA. So they wanted to go back to where they were from, which was dramatically less, you know? But
there's a second raid.
A couple days later, they take you to jail. Now you can't bail out. You're looking at, and the way it works is when you get arrested, they charge you with everything. And then what they're trying to do is get you to either testify against somebody or to plead down, you know, to where like, all right, I'm going to plead guilty to this. And they get a conviction, right? So as a kid, or you're 18, but you're still kind of a kid, right? As far as like, you hear the guys from the neighborhood talk about dudes doing time and stuff like that, but you don't really know what it's like. But you now see the system that's just fucking people. You're like, bro, I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't involved in drugs. I didn't have anything to do with it, but you guys are all caught up that together. 15 of us. Like, there was like two landscapers. There was a couple of people that rented like a casita on his property. There was my aunt, my cousins. There was some other people that like rented a shop down below on his property. They were all tied up together. You know, it's time for you have to prove your innocence. You know, it's not innocent until proven guilty. You have to prove your innocence. So they wound up offering me. So you're looking at 16 years in prison for manufacturing drugs.
That's what you were looking at too?
All of us were. Yeah. You guys are all equal. You know what I mean? If we're driving in a car, and there's a bunch of guns and drugs in the car, we're all equally, you know, if we go and kill somebody, you're the shooter, we're together. It's all equal. In California, it's all equal. There's no like, you're more guilty than the other person. It's all the same. Maybe in a murder case, you might get the death penalty and the other guys all get life, but you guys are all getting convicted of murder. You know, if you're in that car, or if you're the driver and you run in and rob a liquor store, you guys are both getting the same charges, the same crime. So, and I wasn't really, I mean, selling guns is obviously illegal, but I wasn't a criminal. I wasn't a thief. I wasn't a drug addict. I wasn't any of that sort of thing. I was just growing up. That's just the environment we grew up in. So I wound up pleading guilty to possession of a controlled substance, which was a felony. And there was something fucking else. I forget what the other one was. But they were going to give me 2 years run concurrent or consecutive or concurrent at the same time. You do 5 months and 20 days, right? That's it. And then you get out and like, maybe you could get them to like lower it to a misdemeanor, like later on. Right. So I went up doing almost 2 years in jail because I lost all my good time for fighting and stuff. And then now if we fast forward several years, my uncle had gone to prison, all that stuff. He went back, sued the police department, the cops that orchestrated the raid. So it was the FBI, the DEA, confidential informants, local police departments and police departments from the surrounding area. The main cops that were in charge of that were found in other cases to have done illegal stuff, planting evidence and like using illegal tactics. I wasn't super involved in that part, but I know that my uncle's record got taken away. Mine got taken away. All the convictions were overturned. And then they wound up having to pay because they had already seized his property, seized all his cars, everything, so auctioned all that stuff off. So now they had to go back and make that right. So he wound up getting a gigantic payout, from that. I didn't get any money, but I also didn't lose any assets. I lost time, but he lost assets, and they're not going to pay you for your time necessarily that you do. But he lost a huge property, 3 houses on their cars, equipment.
They sold the property.
They took everything. They took everything.
Shit.
Yeah. They took it off and they auctioned it. And there's, if we go back.
Like how fast is that they're, that they auctioned that off?
I was in jail, so I don't know. But within the 2 years I was gone, the property was gone. And the property seized immediately. Like you can't enter that property anymore. If you enter it, you get arrested. You can't go pick up your stuff. If you happen to be out, you couldn't go to that property. It was off limits.
Now, is this one of those situations where, like, say you're growing up in this environment? Are you of the mindset like the law enforcement around that area is corrupt? Or
no, I always like the cops. And to this day, like we're super pro law enforcement. We offer discounts only to cops and to law enforcement and to fire. But like we're super, all my friends are cops. You know what I mean? Like, even in jail, like the cops, they seem just to like that was just a normal problem. I wasn't a scumbag.
More like the higher echelons of
these were just bad. These were just bad humans that happened to be cops. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to call them bad cops. They were just bad humans, and their job was that they were police officers. If they were truck drivers, they would have been bad truck drivers. If they were teachers, they would have been bad teachers. They were just bad guys. Yeah. And
did this happen numerous times around this area?
Oh, tons of times. Yeah. So you could actually drive down the street, which is, I remember. Oh, East Vista Way. You could drive down the street in Vista, and it's like that house got seized, that house got seized, that house got seized. Literally down the street, multiple houses got seized. Were some of these houses legit methamphetamine houses from what it looks like? I mean, they got found with huge amounts of meth, right? But then when that big amount of meth ran out, they had to start just getting other people. So like, well, you're doing it too, and you're doing it too, and you're doing it too. And I guess these cops had an impossible job. The impossible job was to stop this gigantic epidemic that was going on. But not to make this all about drugs and stuff, I had tried drugs. I'd done them a few times, but I never even liked them. I was never a drug guy, never a guy that stole stuff. I would smoke cigarettes and drink, you know what I mean? And like hook up with chicks and do jiu-jitsu. Like that's the stuff I like to do. Yeah. And then my brother-in-law, that my sister married, he was in the Marines. Growing up in Oceanside, he had a bunch of friends that were Marines. So we were always around the Marine Corps growing up. And I wanted to become a Marine, but I knew it'd be impossible. One is I had no education, and two is I had a criminal record. But the thing that actually, every time I went to the recruiter, maybe 2 or 3 times, it was the tattoo on my neck. That was one waiver. And then I didn't have this tattoo, but the tattoo on my wrist bone, that was the second waiver. So we couldn't even get past that. We didn't even get past to the second areas. You know what I mean? But instead, I became a military contractor. I was in charge of thousands and thousands of Marines' lives instead. Typical government logic.
Yeah, that's like the Marine Corps in a nutshell, right?
Yeah. But so I did that, went to jail. A lot of violent stuff in jails. Southern California jails, prisons, they're notoriously violent. They're race segregated. You don't eat with the blacks. You don't talk to the blacks. You don't shower with the blacks. You don't do anything with the blacks. There's certain things you can do with the Mexicans, but you're all hanging out with your race. Super segregated. Other parts of the country aren't like that. You know what I mean? Like black guys will prey on white guys and like all kinds of shit going on. None of that shit flies out there. There's giant armies on how they operate. And it's super violent. If you have child sex crimes, you're getting fucking killed or you're getting fucked up. You know what I mean? If you show up and you've even streaked a football game, like that's weird. We're going to fuck you up. Like if you want to be on the main line with the main guys, you got to just be doing man shit. You know, you better have stuck a gun in someone's face or like something that they champion as like tough guy shit. Yeah. But if you're a scumbag or a weasel, you got to go somewhere else. You know, you'll get rolled up, you get fucked up. It's really, really violent. So after that, and I had already done jiu-jitsu for years during this whole time. So going to jail, like, dude, I would just fucking rear naked choke guys. It wasn't easy, but I had a disadvantage. because I had a martial art that didn't exist anywhere else. You know what I mean? Once I grabbed somebody, I could just fucking standing guillotine them, or I get punched too. You know what I mean? We'd stab guys and stuff. So it was really fucking violent. We stabbed a child molester real bad, really fucking bad. I don't know how much you want to get into it, but he was a child molester, so everybody's happy about it, you know? So we did some really violent stuff. Then I got out and I started, I think one of my first jobs was I did security at the main attraction, which is the strip club off Pendleton. You ever been there? Purple Church, they call it.
I know Purple Church.
You've probably heard about it. Did security there and then I wound up living. And so this time the war was starting, right? Or, no, the war didn't start for a little while later. So I worked at the main attraction, and then I moved to LA for just a little while, trained with Jean-Jacques Machado. And then September 11th, the war started. My sister, who was married to that Marine, he deployed, and she asked if I'd move to Pendleton with her and help her with the kids, you know? And she was really just like, the kids were really, really young. And she was like, just watch them while I take a quick shower, or like watch them while I make a quick phone call, or if I need to run to the store real quick. It was more like that. All I would do is just pump iron in the garage and do jiu-jitsu and like go hit the O course and go swim and like the beach, body surf. That's all I did for a couple years, you know, the first couple years. Then I started becoming a personal trainer. Worked my way up through LA Fitness, became a manager, became a GM, worked at the district level, then moved over to military contracting, where one of my dive buddies, we were finning in from a dive, and he said, "Hey, one of our guys broke his back up in Camp Horno. We have an opening. Do you want to apply?" And I didn't really know exactly what he did.
So you were diving a whole bunch?
Yeah, I grew up diving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's free diving. So I didn't scuba dive until I was probably 18. When I got out of jail, I started scuba diving. But free diving and spearfishing, body surfing, we did that as kids. We grew up just in the ocean, spearfishing. We'd go out and catch lobster, shoot halibut, stuff like that. So I grew up really comfortable in the ocean. And then you got to get obviously a certification for diving, and there's money with that. And we didn't have money, you know. But when I started working at the strip club doing security, we started making good money, you know, and then I was able to buy dive gear. And dude, I would dive any conditions, just storm, choppy, you couldn't see shit. I would go out and I would just fin out around the pier, come back. It didn't matter how crazy the swell was, how bad the surf was, how impossible the visibility was. There was not a day, no matter how bad the surf got, there was a day that we either finned out or we went diving. Didn't matter. We just went out. So then when we actually were like diving in other conditions, like anything that ocean posed to us, we can get out. And it's really hard to get out on big days, like big swell, north-south swell, huge currents, rip currents, all that stuff. It's gnarly to get through some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. The ocean will fuck you up.
Oh, it'll beat the fuck out of you. Yeah.
So was this kind of your outlet after getting out? As far as
I wouldn't even use that word. I was in jail. I was going to be good at that. And then I've always been obsessed with the ocean. Yeah. So then when I got out, I was like, I'm going to be really good at diving, and then I'll be really good at security. I'm going to be really good at lifting weights and be really good at jiu-jitsu. So I always singularly focus on whatever I'm into. But the thing is, I stay into that stuff. You know, guys bounce around and like they switch. When I get into something, I try to be the best at it, and then I'll stick with it forever. Even nowadays, I got such good dive gear. I've got thousands and thousands of dives, and it's just second nature to me. You know, we could go diving right now, and it's so ingrained in my DNA that it's easy, you know? Yeah. Motorcycle ride. I rode motorcycles for a long time, raced a little bit, like same thing. I could jump on a bike. It's instinctive because I spend so much time getting good at it. I do fail at a lot of things, but for whatever reason, I just lose interest in them. Like I tried getting good at bow hunting. Well, let me change that. I tried getting good at shooting a bow. I just lost interest in it. So do I bow hunt? Yes. Am I a bow hunter? No. Yeah. You know, I mean, I got buddies that are bow hunters. You're like, dude, you could fucking hit anything, you know, and I can kill shit, but I wouldn't constitute myself as being proficient at a bow. Sure. You know what I mean? You give me a spear gun, I could hit anything you could hit, I could hit. You know, with a rifle, anything you could hit, I could hit. An arrow? No. Maybe 10% of the things you hit, I could hit.
So that was what your initial contract with the Marine Corps or military?
Yeah, it was with the Marine Corps, yeah.
Was with the diving?
Yeah. So what we did was we worked for this company called Survival Systems originally. And what they were contracted to do was to increase the survivability of our fighting force. And their company incorporated the Army, Navy, Air Force, all kinds of stuff. But because I was in Pendleton, they said, hey, we need a guy in Camp Pendleton. And Camp Pendleton, here's the threat that they're facing. Guys are dying during training. Guys are dying in vehicle rollovers from IEDs in Afghanistan and Iraq. And guys are dying like flying to and from, the ships when they're out on the MEU or whatever, right? So we had to come up with training. They already had training that existed for the helicopters, but they needed to develop training for an MRAP rollover. Like we didn't even have a simulator for that. So we had to develop that. We needed to develop the rescue procedure for the MV-22 Osprey. And then when they came out with a variant of the CH-53, we needed to make some changes to that. So we had to always, whatever the Marine Corps was using, we had to make sure we had a training protocol for that.
Oh, okay.
And then, and the biggest thing was the vehicle rollovers.
Yeah, I did like all this stuff.
Did you do the vehicle too, or just the helicopters? Yeah. Some dudes do
I think
great.
the only helo, I think it was a 47 was like the primary one we trained on.
46.
46.
Yeah.
And then we did the MRAP rollover stuff was one of those things you're like, oh, okay. Like,
was it the dry land one?
Yeah.
Over in Las Pogas, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's fucking piece of cake.
Yeah.
Our shit was gnarly, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're doing it in water, you know what I mean? And like that door doesn't want to open. And our simulators were multi-million-dollar, really, really nicely made, and the doors were heavy as fuck. So you open it like you would an armored door, and then we had an AAV simulator, an MRAP, a Buffalo, I think it was called, the Humvee. We had a bunch of them, dude.
The Helo Dunker training was really interesting. Going through, because you always show that video before you go through the training, right?
Yeah.
And the video's crazy because there's the one that they show that really sticks out in your memory is when, I think it was a 53 was trying to land on the deck of the
46 when it got caught by the back wheel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It like gets caught in the net with the back wheel, and then it like tips, like in a matter of a split second, tips over onto the rotors and is underwater. That was
a recon. It was a group of recon Marines that are coming back from a CQB, and the back landing gear caught the like catch net or whatever it is on the side of a ship, and it inverted, went in the ocean, and I think 6 Marines and 1 sailor died. Yeah. If I'm remembering that correctly.
Yeah, I think it was, if I remember right, it was everybody except one guy. And that guy, I think there was an interview with that Marine, that recon, and he had been in like 3 helo crashes. 2 of them.
That's so unlucky.
He woke up underwater.
Yeah, gnarly.
And that's what you're going into the Helo Dunkers. Like, okay, you've got to be prepared for like worst case scenario, like because the impact knocked him out.
Yeah.
And then he just woke up underwater in the dark.
Upside down,
strapped in, and had to figure out how to get out of that.
Yeah, it's a for sure shit show. And what we're really trying to do is just to have as many guys survive as possible. There's always a guy that's going to fuck everything up. One guy, and the way you get them to kind of capitulate is if you don't do this, you'll kill everybody behind you. Because we'll show them in training, be like, just don't get out. Watch what happens. Everyone behind you dies. Yeah. So the way to get somebody to do something, especially a Marine, if he knows he's going to kill another Marine, he'll capitulate, but for himself, some guys like, I don't give a fuck. I'll kill myself. I'm not going to do this. But as soon as there's another person that's involved, you can get them to do what they're supposed to do. But you know what those flights are like. You're fucking tired. You're sleeping. You don't know what's going on. You can't see out. You know what I mean? It's probably at night.
You're going to the ship.
They're not
middle of the night.
They're not communicating to you that something's happening either. It just happens.
No, you're just
no one's going to radio back and be like, hey guys, get ready. It's just going to be a shit show, Yeah. So that's what we're trying to prepare them for.
Okay.
And then we had friends that we met through the Marine Corps, working with the Marines, obviously, that went over to Afghanistan and died in the exact way that we're training people not to. Like a gunner on top, The hatch kind of closed on him. He couldn't get out. Like one of the doors in a Humvee flipped over, and like the door can only open up so much. And you're really down to, if you could survive this, here's what you do. But a lot of times you're fucked, dude. Yeah. Those vehicles are designed not to get in or out of.
Right. And the MRAPs were so heavy. I mean, and it happened so often. Like when I was in Afghanistan, they started having the wheeler, like it was just a set of wheels on an axle out in front, so that that would take a majority of the
noise,
right?
yeah.
You know what I'm talking
about.
Yeah. But that development didn't come till 10. Like they've been using Humvees and MRAPs and getting them blown up before they had that. For
some of those explosives they were using they're so big. It's unbelievable how some of these guys even survived. Yeah. I mean, we were watching footage just the other day, and it blew up like, it looked like a football field, dude. It was such an enormous amount of area it blew up. And you know what I mean? I get infuriated when I see that shit.
Yeah.
But so military contractor. And then at that time I went over to Okinawa for a year, worked with those guys. And then when I came back, I started working part-time at Apple just as like a secondary. So the contract, Obama wanted to get rid of contractors, if you remember, because of what those Blackwater guys did. Contractors had a bad reputation.
Yeah.
We weren't like,
let's get rid of all the contractors and we'll use drones for everything.
Totally. But our stuff was congressionally mandated. So you couldn't get rid of our program, but our program got shopped around by a bunch of different entities and stuff. And we weren't ever like in combat or anything like that. We were not permitted, nor would there be any need for us. Like we weren't fucking soldiers or Marines or anything. But the one thing that we had that the Marine Corps thought was valuable is we knew all the troop movements. I could tell you exactly who's leaving, when they're leaving, what assets they're leaving with, how many guys are leaving, when they're going, and when they're expected back. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the only like intel information we had that was of any value, but there's guys that have way beyond that. You know what I mean? So we were never, ever allowed to be anywhere next to a combat zone. You know what I mean? Because there was times where they wanted us to go out there and like help some of the guys prep some of their equipment, and the Marine Corps, the command wanted that. The Marine Corps was like, fuck no, those guys aren't going anywhere over there. Just because it wasn't within our body of scope. And I don't know how actually useful we would be. You know, I mean, those guys are smart. They know what they're doing, you know?
They just wanted you to have the capabilities to run those courses on a short time frame for guys who just showed up and stuff.
Yeah. So I started working for Apple, and then did so good at Apple because I had a sales background and stuff that Apple asked me to move into management, senior management, and then move to Las Vegas and take over some of their stores. I did that, and I've been in Vegas ever since. So then during that time, growing up in San Diego, my flip-flops would always break, right? They break all the time. And you're like, oh, fuck, I got a new pair. And like most guys, I go everywhere in flip-flops, everywhere. If we're going to go, like, let's go hike to the top of this hill behind us. Cool. I'm going to do it in flip-flops. I'm not going to put my shoes on, or we're going to go do it. And then at Pendleton, we would hike up at least once a week to the top of the hill where the big cross was, that they had all the stones and stuff for the fallen brothers. Like the Marines would do their tribute to the Marines that had died. We would hike to the top of that hill every week. We do it in flip-flops. And sometimes you would break and be like, oh, motherfucker, you know, that's far up there. It's long. It's hard. It's a grueling hill. So eventually I decided I wanted to make my own flip-flops. No other reason than to make them for myself. We would do jiu-jitsu. We'd go back. Me and my boys would go back to my house, and I would just tinker in the shop while guys would hang out, talk, watch jiu-jitsu videos and stuff. And I would, no leather experience. I started tinkering, messing around, and like trying to figure it out. And my buddy was like, oh, bro, you got to give this thing a name. And I was like, oh, dude, we'll call it Toehold, you know? And then just us hanging out in the garage, we called it Toehold, you know? But then I decided, I was like, oh, we should actually make a business out of this. Not necessarily a business, but we actually start doing a brand, you know? But I never originally intended to sell it to anybody. I just wanted these for myself. But then a guy would ask, and another guy would ask, and another guy would ask. And I'd always tell everybody no. But then one of my buddies would ask, I'd be like, yeah, maybe I can make you a pair this week. We'll see. So at that time, my sister messaged me and she said, hey, do you know Dad's not doing good? And I was like, what do you mean? And she says, I don't know. He's sick. You should call him. So it turned out he had like late, what are they called? Stage 4, like late stage 4 cancer. And like, he kept it quiet. You know, he was a real humble, quiet guy, didn't bother nobody, didn't want to, he's the type of guy that would like never tell you he was dying because it would inconvenience you. You know what I mean? That's one thing that we have is like, I don't ever want to inconvenience people. My sister doesn't want to inconvenience people. Just something we got from our family. Like, you don't be inconsiderate and don't inconvenience other people. You know what I mean? Like, if I have a huge problem, nobody in this world will know about it. I'll hold that shit inside, keep it a fucking secret. And like, you'll never know.
Yeah.
Ever. Because one, who gives a fuck? And two is I'll either solve it on my own or I won't. You know what I mean? So I had actually texted him and said, hey, I'm going to create a flip-flop company. And he's like, oh, right on, buddy. And then the last text message I ever sent him was, I sent him a picture of the logo and I said, here's our logo. And he said, oh, wow, you're really doing it, buddy. I'm proud of you. That's the last thing I ever said to him. That's the last thing I ever texted him. Jeez. So then when he died, and I was real close to my dad, I was like, well, that's the last thing my dad remembers that I was going to do. I'm going to do this forever, no matter what. I don't give a fuck if leather becomes illegal. I don't care if you go to federal prison or they'll execute you for making flip-flops. I will do it forever because that's the vow I made to myself. You know, I didn't tell him this, but I told myself that. So no matter what, I'm going to make flip-flops for the rest of my life. You know, so can I ever sell the company? No. I can never sell the company. After I'm dead, other people could sell the company, but I'm going to make flip-flops for the rest of my life. And then because of my psychotic obsession, they just get better and better and better. And my goal has always been to make the best flip-flops on earth. That's the goal. So anything else, are they quick to make? Doesn't matter. Are they affordable? Doesn't matter. Are they all these other things? Doesn't matter. All that matters is that they're the best in the world.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about.
It's been interesting to see a bunch of the different materials, so to speak, that you've used on these things. It's interesting keeping up with the different stuff that
it's fascinating just to look back. Like if you ask me today, I'm like, I don't know, man, I don't really feel like I'm very good at this. But then when I go and I work next to my team, I'm like, holy shit, I'm so fucking good at making flip-flops. Like I don't realize how good I am at it, but I invented the whole process. And literally have made thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pairs and done steps tens of thousands of times. And I could literally do it in my sleep, you know, but even up to a couple of days ago, we're making little revisions, little changes, little tweaks, and they're getting better and better and better and better and better. And I brought you a pair.
Hell yeah.
So I don't know if those are your size because we talked about sizing. But those are a pair of brown bull elephant flip-flops from Africa.
Oh, shit. Look at those. So I've got, well, the first ones, because we first met at Kalispell.
Move that box.
At
Andy Stump's grand opening.
Yeah. And I remember talking to you. I was like, I want to do a Alien versus Predator. Right. And I was like, I'm really interested to see like what he comes back with. And like, it was so cool. Like the Predator, like perfectly fit in. I think you started selling that design.
Whenever we make something, other people can buy it if they want to. But Star Wars stuff, things like that, we'll sell a few to some people, but we try not to promote them too much because we don't obviously own those trademarks.
Yeah.
But if we make one off, it's not a big deal. So what you have there is you have a slip resistant American-made omnidirectional tread. That tread alone, just in its raw form, will cost substantially greater than any other flip-flop on the market. Just the cost of the raw materials, because it's American-made rubber. And what's it cost to make rubber in America? It's fucking expensive because there's EPA regulations, there's all kinds of bullshit.
Yeah.
So just that tread alone costs more than what you would pay for another pair of flip-flops. Then above that, you're going to find a piece of what's called American vegetable tan full grain leather. And what that means is
this middle layer here.
Correct. What vegetable tanned is, it's a cow hide that's been preserved and cured through a vegetable tanning process, which dates back beyond the Egyptians. It's how humans, and this is like the elephant's cool, but this is the best part. It's how human beings have always preserved leather forever, for as long as we can look back. And it It's an antimicrobial, strong leather that's going to mold and shape. So if you went back all the way back to the Egyptians, right? And you looked at the leather they had, their shields, their swords. If you went to the Romans, the strap on their helmet, the strap that held their shield up.
Early Roman armor was just layered leather.
Exactly. And when you case that stuff, meaning you get it wet and then you let it dry and you start layering it, it's strong as fuck. We've used 4 layers and stopped a 9mm bullet before.
Oh, no shit.
It's strong as fuck, dude.
Huh.
Like you couldn't stab through it with a knife.
So what's the, because I think it's American manufacturing classifications with this stuff, right? As far as like when you look at stuff and you see genuine leather on something, what does that mean versus
let me get into all that stuff. So if you took that vegetable tan leather and you went back to the Egyptians, the Romans, even to pirates, like their boots, their sword sheaths, cowboys was their saddle, their gun holster, their bandolier, their knife sheath, all throughout history is what humans have always used. It wasn't really until the 60s, 70s when Nike came along and started introducing synthetic material, because with this big piece of leather, you could only use a portion of it, because as you get down towards the belly of the animal, it gets fleshy, stretchy. It's not as strong. So there's waste, right? Just like a tree. These synthetic woods these guys use, there's way more profit in it. We don't have to worry about the waste, right? And with a pair of Nike shoes, the materials they use on a pair of Nikes nowadays, you'll see a pair of Nikes go for $400, $600, $1,000. Every single one of those Nikes costs about $3.50 to make. They're made out of a vinyl material. None of it is rare. So when they're like, these are more expensive because they're rare, they built a fake scarcity in there for you. If they wanted to supply the entire population of the planet with Nikes, they could. There's an endless supply of the synthetic material. With what you're looking in front of you there, we could walk through this building and we could walk up and down the streets, and I guarantee no human has ever seen that leather before. Ever. No one has ever seen elephant leather. It's super rare. It's rarer than gold. It's rarer than diamonds. If we went to a grocery store and we walked around, you'd be like, oh, look, there's a chick with a ring. There's a chick with a ring. Diamonds are supposed to be rare, right? Yeah. Gold is supposed to be rare. It's fucking everywhere. There's probably only 1 or 2 pairs in the whole state of that material. It's super fucking rare. It's ethically sourced, comes directly from Africa, and it's all part of, I'm sure a lot of hunters listen to this, all part of the conservational circle, right? So elephants are fucking assholes, okay? This is going to be the best clip ever. If we went to Texas and people are like, bro, don't hurt those pigs. Like, dude, those pigs are fucking wrecking everything. They're going to destroy your farm, your land. They're going to wreck everything. Imagine that as an elephant. Elephants are fucking assholes in Africa. They hate them. I love them. You love them. Americans love them. They don't have to live with them, right? Let's picture what's happening in Africa. So you're an African family in extreme destitute, right? You live in dirt. Your house is dirt. You maybe did something to be able to buy a handful of seeds, right? You and your 2 sons go out and you till the soil, which is dog shit dirt. You go down to the river and risk being eaten by crocodiles. You carry buckets of water back to your field and you get the soil wet. You start growing this tiny farm. This tiny farm is the only thing you have to feed your family. In America, we could work really hard and we can change our destiny. In Africa, if you work super, 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 super hard, maybe you'll barely stay alive. Maybe. Right. There's no hard work to get out of your situation. There's no lottery. There's none of that shit. Your only chance is that little bit of seeds that you have, right? Or to go kill a rhino. One of the two. So you plant these seeds, you grow this tiny little garden, and like you have a little bit of chance to feed your family, right? And then one night an elephant comes by and destroys your hut, kills your husband, wrecks your fence, destroys all your shit, and goes and does the same thing to the neighbors. Those guys now want to go out and completely massacre the whole elephant population. Right. But what these guys do, these game wardens will step in and say, hey, listen, that's a nuisance animal. Just kill that one. We actually got a couple options. We have a hunter who's coming next week. He's going to get 3 tags. He's going to go for a trophy bull, and we're going to give him 2 other tags, 2 depredation tags. He may, if this is a nice bull, then he may want to target that one. Or if it's just a bullshit fucking young male, we'll ask him to kill it. We got a guy in Las Vegas that'll buy that hide from you, and that money will come back and we'll pay you this amount of money for your farm, whatever the yield would have been.
Yeah. Cause it's usually the older males. Right?
It's all of them. No, it's all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all of them. The older males will be isolated, but you may get a herd that comes in and destroys everything. You may have a herd come in and wreck a whole village, bro. The damage a herd of pigs can do. Imagine elephants, bro. Imagine 16 bulldozers show up and just destroy everything all night. So they would completely wipe out the population of those if it wasn't for this program. And who are you going to sell elephant leather to? Who the fuck wants to buy that? Who wants to deal with the backlash and all that stuff? I have to educate every single person and say, hey, listen, here's how we got it. Every environmentalist, every fucking hippie, every fucking liberal, any one of those idiots, if I took the time to explain to them, conservationists, hunters, they already know. They already know the system, how the system works. But that money cycles right back into that program. And now you're able to keep the population from being massacred. And then we take the hide, we pay a fortune for it, right? Super expensive. There's CITES tags to import it. Then off that hide, we're going to take the best sections of that hide and we're going to make flip-flops out of them. And that hide is super expensive. The leather underneath it is super expensive. The tread is super expensive. Those straps are the hardest part to make. The straps take endless amounts of man hours to make.
Why is that?
Just the details that go into them, like all the handcrafting. Yeah. So we have to cut them out of a bigger piece. You have to hand skive them. You have to hand burnish them. You have to token all the edges. You have to carefully fold them, bend them. It takes the most amount of time. It's by far the hardest step. And then these are all hand shaped. And then what happens is they're going to beautifully mold to your specific foot over time. So the whole process of having the leather like that is it's a flat blank surface. And by you standing on it, because it's vegetable tan leather, it's designed to mold to your foot. It's the same way if you had a gun holster and you put that cowboy gun in a holster, after a few weeks or a month, it's going to be like, damn, this fits perfect. Yeah. It's how humans have always broken and stuff. But we're so used to instant gratification that we lack that ability nowadays. So a pair of flip-flops like that costs only $1,000. And the reason it's only $1,000 is because we're so good at logistics and we're so good at operations. We're so good at systems that we could get them down to only $1,000. Louis Vuitton will sell you synthetic material for $1,500.
Yeah.
Gucci will sell you plastic for $2,000, or maybe some pairs they have are $1,000. You're getting American made, American labor, and we pay our guys really well. All of our staff gets paid a strong American wage. So you have something that's super rare, that falls in the conservation classification, and there's only a few guys on the planet that have that specific pair. Now, if you look at them, can I see them real quick?
Yeah.
So what we'll do too, can I see the other one? If you put them side by side right here and you look at them, you'll notice, you see these lines, how the line from the left goes to the line to the right.
Oh yeah, it matches up perfectly.
So we mirror everything. I'm not going to, for the sake of having, let's look at this table. You see how the grain over here doesn't match the grain over here? Mm-hmm. If another company did this, they're going to sell you a left foot and a right foot. I'm going to do this and get them side by side. But what happens with that, we're able to get less yield from it, but a higher quality product. Because what's the ultimate goal? To make the best. I don't care that I can make another grand if I just, finger fuck this or that. What I care about is that I make the best product and you're supplied with the best product. Because there's something even more sacred. Whenever we put the logo that says Made in America, I got this strong fundamental belief that if it's not the absolute best in the fucking world, you're doing a disservice to the whole country. And we've seen brands that say, hey, listen, this is Made in America, come and buy it. But it's dog shit, right? I feel that way about Ford. And I know guys listening to this love Ford. Ford buys their products from around the planet. They bring them in here and they shitty put them together and they sell them. Hey, it's American made. Buy it, buy it, buy it. Fuck you. Make your car better. Make your car way better. Make it never break. Stop having problems with it. Stop having failures. And stop always trying to make a new version. That new version better be dramatically better than the previous version. You stick with it for a while and you perfect that fucking version. You don't change it until there's a better version. Don't just change it to change it. All these brands do that shit and I fucking hate it.
That's why, who was I talking to? I can't remember, but the International Scout vehicle. Remember that car?
I don't.
It was like it looks like a Bronco.
Yes. I know the one you're talking
So
about. Yes.
the International Scout was so well built that it wasn't a sustainable business model because they never needed to make more of them because they would last forever. So much so that they went away from manufacturing like passenger vehicles and they just went to making big rigs and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The ones that make the trucks. Yeah.
Yep. And so they're starting to bring those back down. I think they're doing like an electrical version and a non.
It gets tricky because we've had guys want to invest in our company and the answer is always no, fuck no. The reason being is because your goal with your investment is going to be way different than my goal. My goal is to make the best in the world. Your goal is to make profit and your money back. If we made no money, we just broke even, I don't give a fuck because my goal is I'm going to do this forever. Remember, I'm going to do this forever and I'm going to make them the best. That's my goal, right? Then it comes down to business. So I've already told you I went to jail, right? I have no record now. I'm no felonies. That's all gone. I could fucking carry guns. I could fucking vote. I could do all that shit. Right. So I had a former criminal record. I have a 7th grade education, grew up in a poor neighborhood. Don't have any cool military accolades. I was in no war hero, no UFC champions. I have 0 accolades whatsoever. Right. I'm the most unremarkable person you could imagine to run a business. Okay. And this is for the guys, this message is for the guys that want to run a business. If you have accolades, perfect. You're going to be starting off way further than me. There's a couple things that I firmly believe you have to do in business in order to be successful. So our product is the best in the world. Nobody makes anything better, right? Not only can they not make it better, if they wanted to make it better, I would wish they would try because I want to compete with somebody. No one will compete with us because my level of psychotic obsession, just the time it takes for you to go tuck your kids in real quick, I'm going to get ahead. The time it takes for you to drop your kids off at school, I'm going to get ahead because this is all the fuck I care about, right? The time you need to take a family vacation, I'm going to get ahead because I'm psychotically obsessed with making the best products in America. That's it. So that's what you got to compete against. Then you got to build long relationships with people to try to buy a super limited resource, which is this leather. Now, this is bull elephant. We have what we call murder hippo. We were talking about those earlier. Yeah. This is a hippo that grabbed a villager, shook him to death, and killed him. I got that hide, right? I showed you pictures earlier. We have a gigantic Nile crocodile that we call the murder croc. It ate a villager, right? Multiple, but we know that it ate one because we have pictures of a human coming out of its stomach. Where in the fucking world can you buy something like that?
Yeah. How do you get?
You can't.
How do you source it?
Relationships. So the guys that are producing the best leather wanted to go to the guys who are going to make the best products out of it. So if you came along with a lot of money and you wanted to buy just the vegetable tan leather we have, can't. Because the guy's going to be like, go fuck yourself. You don't know we used to not be able to buy this stuff. When we were young, when we were like a young company, yeah, I would save up money and ask these guys if I could buy something. They're like, no, you don't know what to do with our leather. You wouldn't know how to use it. Like, go use this other stuff. And they watched me for 8 years build our products. They're like, all right, you're ready to use our stuff. You understand how our stuff is used. These tanneries are from the mid 1800s. There's only 2 of them left in this country. We have good relationships with both of them. They've both the senior guys have been over to my house. They see what we do. They see our vision. They see our plan. They love what we're doing. And it complements what they make. Because if you just gave that leather to somebody, they wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it. Yeah. It's so rare nowadays and it's such a forgotten art. It's similar to like if we cooked over fire, right? Cooked a steak over fire. Humans have always done that. But somebody in the city would have no idea, like, how the fuck do you even do that? Like, are you going to burn it? Like, what about the stick? Is it going to fall? Like, they don't fucking know. Working with leather is something humans have always done. A generation lost it. We're bringing it back and we're sticking with it. So when it comes to the business standpoint, now that we have this product, which I firmly believe is the best product in the world. Okay. Now in the scope of business, that's where the 0, that gets us 0 accolades. Don't buy our product because it's the best in the world. Absolutely don't. It's all the other things that we do. That's why you should buy our product. There's tons of companies that make nice shit. And there's a lot of companies that don't, but you make nice shit and then everything else sucks. You suck at communication. You suck at marketing. You suck at branding. You suck at your write-ups. Your website sucks. All that stuff sucks, right? So if you're listening to this and you want to start a company, build the best product in the world and then expect zero accolades from it. You don't deserve anything. I mean, look at your guys' company. You guys make incredible coffee. That's not why people buy it. It's because the messaging, the give back, the communication, the response, the integration into the community, that's what people are buying, right? If I made a coffee company and it was better coffee, better beans, and I didn't do anything else, it would be worth zero, nothing. So the product isn't worth shit. You don't get anything. That's the price of admission to get onto the field. Now it's up to you to do all the best things. And my opinion is the greatest weapon you have in business is speed. It's the greatest fucking weapon, right? It's not the result, it's the action, right? Because let's use a super generic example. You order DoorDash, right? And that food shows up in 15 minutes exactly the way you ordered it, right? Or let's say it shows up wrong. One thing is missing, right? It shows up wrong, but it shows up in 15 minutes, right? You're like, whatever. But it shows up 2 weeks late. It shows up 2 weeks later exactly the way you ordered it. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is insane. Like, how do you even make you'd be pissed that it even showed up. You'd be like, I'd rather it not show up. You're now confused that it showed up out of nowhere, right? Same result or similar result, different action, right? So if you're going to market to somebody, like let's use Instagram as an example. I create an Instagram account and I say, hey guys, look at my product. I sell this welding service. I sell this hat company. I sell this soap company. And I'm like, cool, I want to buy some. And I shoot you a DM and I say, I want to buy something. How much is it? And you don't respond for hours or days. You don't deserve to be in business. You don't. Because you've now created this lemonade stand on the side of the road, right? You went, you got the best lemons from your tree. You grow the best tree, got the best sugar. You picked out your favorite picture. You had your wife draw on the best sign possible, right? You go out to the curb, you set up your sign, you put all your bullshit there. I drive by, I'm like, fuck it, I'll have a glass. And then I pull over to the side of the road. I was like, how much for a glass? And you turn around, you walk inside.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the fuck you're doing. Yeah. Right? You don't deserve to be in business. You don't. Your company deserves to fail, and you deserve to fail because you're too stupid to realize that communication is speed is your greatest weapon, right? So as soon as that customer asks, right away, instantaneously, right? And maybe $1 for a glass of lemonade isn't my thing, but now I know immediately. Or you put the price right there. It's $1 for a glass of lemonade. I already know. So then when I come up to you and you write, it's organic lemons, it's 2 cups of sugar, you have all the information there. So when I come up to you, what am I going to do is only give you my money. That's it. I'm just going to buy from you now. You've answered all my questions. You've told me all the pertinent information I needed to know. So now the only communication you're going to have is just simply finish the order. That's it. And you'd be surprised how many big companies fuck that up. It's shocking. And I learned that from LA Fitness. I learned that from Common Sense. I learned that from working for Apple. Companies fuck that up all the time. So if you have a business and you're creating whatever, you just got out of the military, whatever you're doing, you're creating a product, instantaneous communication. And you'll be like, holy shit. And there's this thing in business where, let's say you make $1 million a year, right? Your potential is $1 million, but you don't answer on the weekends, right? You don't answer after 5 p.m. So now your potential is $1 million, but now it's down to $700,000, right? Because you've lost all that money. Then you're slow at the time you do communicate. So now it's down to $500,000 and so on and so on and so on. And then pretty soon you're like, dude, the economy sucks. The market sucks. We're not just really performing like I thought we would. It's not that. It's your actions are causing an adverse effect because you suck at what you're doing, right? You're focusing on your product. You shouldn't. You focus on the customers, right? You can message us around the clock and we will respond to you almost instantaneous, super fast. The only time you won't hear from us is about an hour, hour and a half when I'm on a podcast. Then as soon as we get off the air, boom, I'll catch up with everybody that wants something. But if you do that, suddenly you now wanted to start this brand, you're focusing on all the wrong things. So whatever brand company you want to start, coming out of the military, coming out of college, just in your shop, make the product perfect first, quick, make it perfect first, then fast communications. And you can't use the excuse, you know what, guys, I'm just bad at technology, right? How many times have you heard that?
Oh, I mean, it's just like, you can't say that anymore. That's like bitching about the younger generations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just,
let's talk about what technology even is. Okay. What's technology? A camera? Cameras
well,
were
it's different communication techniques, right? Like, essentially, whether it be the internet or video, whatever. You're just communicating a message in different ways, shapes, and forms.
Let's talk about those. So cameras have been around since the 1800s, right? They're not technology anymore. Phones have been around since the 1800s. Computers were invented in the 1930s. The internet's been around 30, 40 fucking years now. So the things you're saying you can't do with technology, you're using an excuse because you've chosen not to learn them. You could go on your phone, download ChatGPT, ask it anything you want to know, and it'll tell you specifically how to do it. Now that you have the answer, your choice to not do it is solely laziness.
I have an example. I went to dinner with some people a couple weekends ago and just got onto ChatGPT.
It's the best.
And they're like, yeah, I don't use it. I'm like, what are you doing with your life?
It's crazy.
Like, it is such a simplification tool. Like, I don't even go, the only reason I'll use like a Google or a search browser is like to go to an exact location now.
Right.
If I want to know anything, I'm going to ChatGPT.
It's the best. Yeah. It's such a game changer. It knows everything about me, my company, our sale, everything. And I'll ask it questions. It'll give me fast answers. And then if I need to learn something, how do I use Facebook retargeting ads? It'll tell me step by step exactly how to do that. So the point of all this is, if you want to start a business, if you want to create something great, I'm starting from a much deeper hole than you did. And we created a brand that's worth millions of dollars. We created a brand that's worldwide. The amount of people that know about it shocks the fuck out of me. You know, I hang out in my shop and I make flip flops, and I know the coolest guys in the whole fucking world. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. We created a product that nobody said you could possibly do, right? Flip flops cost $7 fucking dollars,
almost as long as human beings.
Yeah, well, flip flops have been around for at least 5,000 years. Like the Egyptians owned flip flops. We have pictures. We have there's pictures of golden flip flops that they own.
Oh yeah, do you know how they were making their flip flops?
They shaped them out of gold.
Oh really?
Yeah, they shaped them out of gold, and they lined them with leather. Like they pounded them just like you would pounding like steel. So they had gold thongs and shit. It was crazy. I don't know how fucking comfortable they were, but they looked sick as fuck. They look super sick. So we took a product that's normally $10, $15, a disposable product, and we charge $500, $1,000. We actually hold the world record now. $5,000 for the most expensive leather flip-flops ever sold. There's like an artistic pair online that they list for like 18 grand, but then no one's ever bought them. And it's just like some artist rendition. But as far as actual sold, we hold the world record currently.
What was unique about
they were white Himalayan crocodile. So the same, the company that's Hermes, it's a fashion brand. They make a $500,000 bag. Like the fucking Beckham's wife owns it and the Kardashians own one. It's like the ultimate fashion item, right? It's the most expensive fashion item in the world that isn't a watch. They're $500,000, and they're made out of this beautiful white crocodile that looks like the peaks of the Himalayas. So they call it a Himalayan crocodile. We have a matching pair. The thing is, you can't get these fucking high. You get the fake ones. It's like Louis Vuitton material. There's millions of fake ones out there. But as far as our actual hide, I could buy them because I have a huge relationship with all these breeders and these guys around the world. If they catch one, they farm one, whatever it is for crocodiles. Most crocodiles are farmed. And like you go to Louis Vuitton store, those are all farm raised crocodiles. They want those crocodiles with no scars, no imperfections. I buy 14 footers. I want a crocodile or an alligator covered in scars, bites, characteristics. Rogan has this pair with this gigantic bite mark on its tail. Probably one of the coolest bites we've ever seen. Just going all the way around. Looks like a shark bite going all the way around the flip-flops. You know what I mean? You don't get that from anywhere else. And that's the only pair in the world. So we have that. We hold the world record for that. So we did something that nobody else said you can do, right? We make the best flip-flops. Now you think about like the modern businessman. Think about how we're all dressed. We're all wearing, most of the time, we're always wearing shorts. Everybody has a nice watch. You have a t-shirt, and what's on your feet? Cheap Chinese, Brazilian, Cambodian flip-flops. Nobody makes a high quality American flip flop that's high quality. People make them, but they fucking suck. So now, if you want to champion that outfit, Toehold Flip Flops, board shorts, nice watch, t-shirt, hat, you know what I mean? It's the ultimate tactical fucking gear.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen the picture of Brian Shaw trying to break these?
Yeah.
So he grabs the thong and he tries to pull them out. You can do weird shit and pull them this way, but that's not the way your foot works.
Yeah.
The way your foot works is you step in the thong, you get stuck in the mud, you put this forward lateral pressure right here. That's the strong part, right? So if you try to pull this here and here, you couldn't break it. You can pull them sideways and do a bunch of weird stuff and eventually break them. But that's like trying to tow a truck that could tow 10,000 pounds, trying to tow it from your front.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because like that's a piece of military grade 550.
Yeah, it's never going to break.
Yeah.
It's never going to break. Then,
unless you get more than 550 pounds of pressure on it.
It produces a huge amount of force.
Yeah.
But what happens is you have these flip flops for 5 or 6 years. You shoot us a message like, hey, AG, my straps are starting to wear out. Send them back. We'll add new straps. Send them back to you. Done. If you wear them out, we could resole them. If you mess them up, we can fix them because we make them. Reef doesn't make their shit. Rainbow makes a little bit of their stuff, but most of their stuff is made in China and they use Chinese materials, right? All those brands, Billabong, those guys just buy bulk stuff from China with their logo on it. They don't make their own stuff, so they can't fix their own stuff. They can't even dictate how their stuff is made because they're not in control of their own stuff.
So where are you getting the leather that you're using for this middle section?
So there's 2 spots. One of them is St. Louis, and the other one is in Pennsylvania. They're both super old tanneries from the mid 1800s. One of them is like in the heart of the city in St. Louis, and the other one is in Amish country, old as fuck. Like these buildings look like old whiskey like distilleries, dark, wet, huge barrels. And to make one piece of leather, so here's why they cost $1,000. Okay. One piece of the leather in the middle, right? And this will circle back to your question earlier about genuine leather. If you use chrome tanned leather, there's other American made companies that we've heard of, right? That use leather. It's made in America, right? Probably.
Yeah, that's probably not anything super good.
Yeah.
Coaster.
Yeah. That's not even real leather. It's just a coaster. That's a synthetic. But a lot of times you'll see stuff like that. It's made with chrome tanned leather. So they take the hide, they dip it in chromium. It's like this super strong chemical process. And then that's how the leather's made. If you remember, chromium is what was in the water in that famous movie Julia Roberts did, Aaron Brockovich, or whatever the fuck that movie's name was. Chromium is toxic to the human body. So now you're standing on that. It's leaching into your foot. And I never play the fucking toxic fucking angle. It's fucking gay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is. You're putting something, chromium is super fucking toxic. But now that's leaching into your foot. You're sweating it into your foot. And it's just going to break down and fall apart. It's trash. It takes just hours to make. One piece of this leather takes 3 months to make. It's super labor intensive. I can send you some videos where it's like 2 giant dudes pulling giant. They look like wet rugs. They're huge. They're heavy as fuck. They're having to manually pick them up, move them, cut the fat off them, take the hair off them, put them in these big vats. They have to shake back and forth on these rocker arms for months and months and months. And you get those tannins to deeply permeate into the leather, preserving it, curing it. Then out of all the leather this tannery makes, we get the first pick of the best stuff. So whatever their best stuff is, we get the first choice. Then after we get those hides, I'll lay them out in our shop and I'll say this section of the best tannery, of the best hides, of the best section is what we're going to use for your flip-flops. The rest of it, we're going to discard. So the cost just of the leather and the time it takes is fucking astronomical. Because remember what our goal is? To make the best. If we had an investor, it'd be like, AG, what if we just did this and this and this? Go fuck yourself. We're not going to do that. Our goal is to make the best.
So are these tanneries that are doing this 3-month process, is that pretty similar to how it was done hundreds of years ago?
Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the same. Except instead of electricity, back in the day, they use steam, right? They have a big boiler on property. They'd have coal come in, huge steam stack would move this kind of like wheel, and the wheel would have a giant belt going, and it would shake the big drum. So picture like a whiskey drum, but now picture it the size of like a like a giant commercial dumpster or a giant commercial shipping container. Like they're gigantic, right?
Yeah.
Huge. That's what's spinning in these factories, and they're tumbling them. And then after it goes through that process, they go in these big vats and they shake back and forth, right? For months and months and months and months. So the only difference is they went from steam to electricity. That's the only difference. The process is the same. Now, if you did it on a smaller scale, you would like get a huge rock and you would carve and chisel out a bowl shape into a huge granite rock. Then you'd put tree bark, tannins, roots, things like that. And then you would put the leather in there and leave it there, come and shake it every couple of days. You know, like if you were in a tribe or something like that down, there's places in the Middle East that still do it that way. They got like these quarries where there's these huge round indentations in the rocks, and they make them that way. It's wild.
Interesting.
So it's the best leather, the best shred, it's the best everything. Everything about it is the absolute best. And what these should cost is $2,000 or $3,000. But we make them, we don't need to make that much money on them. We make enough to pay the staff. We make a little bit of a profit, but the goal is to make the best product on the earth. Then we make wallets, we make belts, we started making slides. Dana Whitehead gave a couple of pairs to Trump. And Trump asked if we can make, he calls them slippers. He's like, can we make some slippers? And I was like, yeah, we could do slippers. But I was always like, dude, I have thousands of hours of calling slippers gay as fuck online. I was like, yeah, we could do some slippers. So we started making slides specifically for him. A lot of guys want slides. So we did some slides. But all of our products are world-class. They're all handmade. They're the best. There's no corners that are cut whatsoever.
That's awesome.
But when it comes to marketing now, how interesting would it be to watch me make flip-flops all day? Like, you might find it cool for a little while. Fuck that. You're going to go to our page. You're going to see nothing but tits and nothing but ass. That's it. It's really hot chicks constantly. That's it. Because you don't ever get tired. I wouldn't want to sell flip-flops to somebody that got tired of looking at tits.
At least you know yourself.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Have you ever gone down the rabbit hole on the Roman leather armor?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I've seen like pictures, and I've seen people that have made what they call like replicas. And I had a previous employee that was a super like armor nerd, and he wanted to make a pair. The thing is, for us to like try to make it just for fun, any new product we do takes tens of thousands of dollars and tons of time for us to make. But as far as what they did, it's crazy. Like the way they used to have stuff that could stop arrows.
Yeah.
Like it was nuts. But you had a question, and the question was genuine leather. Okay.
Right.
Now, you guys use this as a test. When you see a company and they use the term genuine leather, genuine leather is the lowest grade leather possible. But they're so inexperienced with leather that they don't realize that. So like, dude, it's made with genuine leather. That's like saying IKEA furniture is made with real wood. Well, you're right. There is fragments of wood that are used in that furniture, right? Is that a hardwood? Is that a raw, natural hardwood? No, but it's made with real wood. If you look at a Kenneth Cole belt or Calvin Klein, those are all cardboard, right? But then what they'll do is they'll get a couple fabrics, literally strings of leather. They'll sprinkle them in there, and they use this careful word, made with genuine leather.
Oh, interesting.
Made with. The with is the key.
Huh.
Put it in huge letters, made with, right? If this table was all fake and I sprinkled a couple pieces of wood, it's made with real wood, right? It's made with real gold, right? When you buy leather, you want full grain vegetable tanned leather. Top grain, which means they sanded the top off to remove blemishes. Top grain is still really good, but companies will do it to remove the aesthetic. You want, my opinion is you want the aesthetic. Like these wooden walls in here, it'd be like them removing those knots and the characteristics. The characteristics is what makes it wood. It's the beauty of it, right? If it all looked like it was plastic, that's what top grain would be like. If it was made with synthetic stuff, and what we'll do is, so the leather will it comes thick, like an inch thick. They're going to shave off and get it down to like 8 millimeters, 6 millimeters, depending on what we're doing. All the stuff they shave off, they're going to take and they're going to rip it apart and blend it into fibers. Then another company is going to take that and use it in a press and put all kinds of like glues in there. And now they're going to sell it as like particle board. And that's what people will usually call as genuine leather. You ever see like a bomber jacket or like a sofa, and it like has that weird pebbling on there, kind of like the seat of a BMW.
Yeah.
Like, what's that pebbling from? That's not, the animal doesn't look like that. Where did that come from? That's a human thing. A human made that. A human gave it texture to make it look like it had texture. Unfortunately, humans have lost the knowledge on leather. So most of the time we have to educate people on the difference, you know? How is it colored? How does it do this? How does it do that? This is stuff like your grandparents all knew. Nobody had to ask these questions, you know? But just like cooking a steak. Well, how do you get that crispy edge? How do you do that? How do you keep it red in the middle? Like, dude, everyone fucking knows that. But we lost that generationally, you know what I mean? But if we go real back to running a business. So remember, the product, no accolades for it whatsoever. Make it perfect, make it great, make it dependable, reliable, and then have super fast communication. So we have this challenge we always tell people. Go to your favorite company on Instagram and on their website and just shoot them a message right now and set your clock and watch how long it takes for them to respond. Any company, right? It takes them forever to get back to you. We always have our best people answering, right? So the philosophy is best person forward. So whoever the best person has the company, it's usually me. I started the company. If you message us, you're usually going to talk to me, right? Most of the fucking time. And so we lost our Instagram account because we're super pro-Republican. We were going to lose it during COVID because we're posting all the COVID fucking fake vaccine shit. And then during the Trump administration, we almost lost it then. And we always have environmentalists reporting it and shit. But eventually we lost it at 850,000 followers. We have a brand new Instagram account with like 12,000 followers. But our customers already have my cell phone. So we can not even have an Instagram account. Our customers just message me directly, you know, or they go to our website to shoot us an email. But you have to communicate in real speed. You have to communicate fast. And we have this challenge we do on Christmas, where if you message us Christmas morning, you'll get a message back from us usually within 2 or 3 minutes. Christmas morning, Christmas day, whatever. Because I know what that experience is like. You just opened your brand new flip-flops, or your wife opened up her bag, or whatever it is. Your kids open up their flip-flops, or you just got a nice gift card and you want to use it. And you're like, holy shit, like I just got these flip-flops. Do I need to condition them? Can I get them wet? Can I do this? Can I do that? You're going to message us and you're probably not going to expect a call back until what? January 1st, January 2nd, right? We'll get back to you in a couple of minutes. My phone will ping that it's a company email. I'll read it, respond back right away. And they're like, what the fuck? You guys are working on Christmas? Yeah. Because I know you are opening up your product and you're excited about it. And I want to make sure you have the best experience. Because what are you going to do? Not touch them for a week until we get back to you?
Right.
That's not going to make a good customer experience.
Right.
So it's those little things that make the above and beyond, that make a company stand out, right?
Yeah, it's a good philosophy, man. I mean,
so
that's the way everything is with businesses now. People have, like you're saying about the leather, like we realize things have escalated to a point where they're using tricks to get certain things out, right? And we want to know the people behind the brand. We want to know how they align their values, and so that we can potentially align our values with them by giving them our money, right? And people want to know that people are ultimately care about what they have to say.
That's why you guys do so well. Everybody loves you guys. They love your branding, love your messaging. You guys support everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are the ultimate, like the ultimate in a world where there's Starbucks and like these guys are juggernauts. You guys just blew past all these guys. And how many people said you guys couldn't do that?
Oh, I'm sure there was
insane.
Yeah.
The more people that tell you can't do it, the better. Once people started telling us that we would never succeed at this, I knew we were going to crush it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the product has to be the best. That's the thing. It has to be the best, but then you can't rely on that. Good, clear communication, good people, good staff, good everything.
Yeah. It was the same way with this stuff coming online, the energy drinks. I love it when people crack them for the first time, because like, whoa,
these are super good.
They're really
I drank,
good.
I think, half of both of these.
Like,
I'm probably gonna.
Yeah, no, it's the same approach we take towards this product development stuff. Like, the thing is like with this stuff too, is trying to get people like, hey, we've put a ton of time, energy, and money towards getting high quality coffee. but the amount of people that want the high quality stuff that's at a higher price point is pretty few and far between, right? But our favorite part of the coffee brand specifically is the exclusive coffee subscription, where like I was showing you the design for the bag in August. It's
That's
like,
so sick.
that's a monthly coffee. Like, is it worth it for us to put all of that manpower into sourcing that coffee to a smaller group of people? That's a lot of work for a lot of people. And that's not the most popular part of the brand, but we love that so much. We love trying coffees from new countries, the crazy designs that come out of the design team brain, and how that's incorporated into like an exclusive club experience, right? Like, it's different when you get this bag of coffee, then the design's just gnarly on it. And then you get all of the information with where that's coming from, how high of altitude it's grown at, how to make that cup of coffee just right. Oh, it comes with a sticker pack too, and a t-shirt if you want it. Like, it's a whole, like it's
the whole experience,
but it's what you want, right? Like, you created the thing that you wanted because you care about it so much that it's easy to become obsessed about it. And that's the same way it is over here too. Like, you look at any of this, like, no, we're obsessed with high quality premium stuff.
Yeah.
And allowing that to come from our brain and taking pride.
It's such a uniqueness. When we got that murder croc, dude, I spent weeks tracking that thing down. 2:00 in the morning, talking to guys in Africa. Eventually got it. We only could get 6 pairs out of it. But the experience and the story and just the cool factor of being able to get that, and the 6 guys who have them, forget about it, dude.
Yeah, it's like you should, like, you care.
It's worth it.
Like, it's
worth it.
It's such a unique perspective and path for a business. So you have to do this.
But me and you, like, we can only do that because ultimately we care about the customers. If it's a big investment, like time, money, some corporate fucking Yahoo is going to tell us we shouldn't do that. Fuck that. Yeah. We're going to do what's always best for the customer. And that's who I want to make things for. And that's who the customers want to spend money with. Yeah. And I feel like that's the goal. So our stuff is expensive to make. It's hard to make. There's about 550 steps in our most basic pair. These ones go up to 800 steps, right? It never costs us. Like, we always joke that we don't do sales. Like, it never costs me less. Like, if I bought a bunch of shirts from somebody and I was like, I'll just get rid of them, it always costs me a lot of money to make these. It always costs me a lot of time to make these. But there's a couple people that will give discounts to. Military, first and foremost, law enforcement, fire, automatically. If you're one of those people, shoot me a DM on Instagram or shoot me an email and just show me proof of service, and we'll send you a special code. It's good always and forever. We also build a special code, BRCC, just for your guys' listeners, and it's good forever. Good forever, and it's good for all things.
Hell yeah, dude.
BRCC, if you're like me, a regular Joe, or if you're a veteran, military, fire, because those guys, a guy in the military is willing to die for me, the least I could do, right? A fireman's willing to go in and die for me. A cop's willing to die for me, the least I could do. You know what I mean? But like a normal guy that wants to buy 3 pairs, there's a discount. No. You know what I mean? It's for the people that are doing everything for us that we're going to do that for. Yeah. You want something custom? Just shoot us a DM. Instagram's the best way to get a hold of us, but the website also, just shoot us an email. We'll respond right away. Want to do something custom, something really unique, something weird. Want to get stuff for your staff, for your executives. Just simply communicate. We run around a 2-month lead time right now. The demand is fucking crazy.
Cool, man. That's fucking awesome. These things are great, by the way.
Oh, this hat too. This is a Toehold hat. It has the white logo on there. You only get this hat if I personally hand it to you.
Oh, hell yeah.
So like, if I was going to bring one for Evan, obviously we bumped into Evan, but I couldn't give you one to give to him. So when I see somebody out in public and they have that white hat on, I was like, I've met this guy before.
It's good.
I know. I personally met him. Usually they've been to my house. That's how, you know, I think that's the only one I've ever took to somebody.
Yeah.
So if you have that hat with the white Toehold logo, it means I personally handed it to you. No other thing than just, it's a cool way for me to keep track of who I met.
No, I like that attention to detail in all aspects. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And check out what's in the bag. Matching key fob.
I think the 72 Bronco, I know you just talked shit on Ford, but that 72 Bronco is a piece of art I think the Bronco.
The way it
keeps on
looks,
that.
it's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. The way that Bronco looks, like aesthetic. I love retro stuff.
That's cool. Well, thanks, man. I'm going to put these things on my feet.
Do it. Yeah. So if you guys need anything, shoot me a DM. Our Instagram. Can I shout it out?
Yeah, go for it.
It's TOEHOLD_USA. Toehold USA. Our website is Shop Toehold. Shoot us an email, shoot us a DM. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to communicate and subscribe to the Coffee Club.
Hell yeah. Thanks, guys. Cool, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was great, dude.
That was fun.